in Richmond, Virginia. This particular panel is on Facebook. My name is Brian Jarvis of Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'm going to be your moderator. And I would like to introduce our two panelists over here who will be speaking on Facebook today. So over here, on my right, your left, is Teresa Berger from South Bend, Indiana. She started square dancing in the 5th grade with her family, began calling in 2010 when she was in high school. And now I feel really old. And yeah, because y'all are older than me, so okay. She called all through high school and college, and after graduating with her bachelor's degree, Teresa is working for the Indiana University South Bend and is currently the Assistant Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships. But you may know her best as working part-time as the Assistant Executive Director for CALLERLAB. And next to her is... Aw, sweet.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Next to her is Jodine, a member of CALLERLAB since 2005. He founded the Square Dance Callers group on Facebook in 2006. And he's been involved in managing similar discussion fora dealing with a variety of topics on online platforms since the 1980s. Currently lives in Sunnyvale, California, where in addition to calling and dancing, is also webmaster for the California Square Dance Council, Santa Clara Valley Square Dancers Association, and several square dance clubs. Thank you, Joe, for being here on the panel. A quick intro on the topic. How many people are currently on Facebook? So I'm seeing about 80% of the hands, about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 16 people here. Okay, so how many people are curious about Facebook but never been on it? A few people, okay. Facebook was originally founded, well, under the Facebook name in February of 2004 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, by a gentleman and his friends known as Mark Zuckerberg. As of 2018, December 31, there are 2.32 billion users active in the last 30 days of 2018. That's 9% growth over the year before. That's 1.5 billion daily users with an average of 20 minutes of Facebook time each. Their busiest time tends to be midweek, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, if you're curious about that. But most people tend to be engaged and posting on Facebook, it seems, on Thursdays and Fridays. Go figure. I've been on Facebook, I think, since, I want to say 2009. And I have something about love-hate relationship with Facebook. It keeps me in contact with my friends and family, but I don't trust them very much with a lot of my data. So I'm parsimonious with how much information I give them. If you're trying to find my birth date, I'll tell you right now, my birth date on Facebook, it's a fake. That is not when I was born. They don't need to know that. But I still keep track of it because that's where my square dance friends are. That's where my families are. If I want to see what my various nieces and nephews and grandkids are up to, that's where I go. If I want to keep track of my grandmother and what she's doing, that's where I go. And she needs to monitor my movements, too bad. No, I post on occasion, I keep in contact. I usually do it through private messages as well as the events and timeline. And I have a separate professional page for square dance events that I've been organizing. It has some utility, and it's got a broad reach. And I can't think of another mobile or desktop platform that reaches as many users. So that's why we're discussing it today. Over to you guys. Is this working?
No. Turn on. Push the thing over there.
Hello. Okay. So it's interesting that most of the people here are already users of Facebook. So just a brief overview of some of the important concepts for the people who haven't. When you sign up for a Facebook account, it's similar to signing up for any other online service. You identify yourself, you get a password, and the space on Facebook where the information about you lives is called your profile. And each person who's a user of Facebook has a profile. It's got potentially all sorts of information and people use it different ways, but it at least has your name, and this is the way you interact with everything else. In addition to individual users having a space, organizations and businesses can have a space. Facebook uses the term page for that. So if CALLERLAB is on Facebook, that's not considered a user of Facebook, that is called a Facebook page. It actually was created by and is managed by one or more other users. So perhaps Teresa is involved in managing the Facebook page. But the Facebook page has its own identity, and you can use that for any kind of business or any kind of organization, such as a square dance club, a square dance caller in his or her capacity as a business person, and any other kind of organization or business. And that serves a similar purpose within Facebook as an ordinary website does in the larger world. But it's all in the format that Facebook provides and can be interconnected with Facebook users within Facebook. And then the thing that I use Facebook for largely is groups. Groups are similar to groups on other online systems, everything from the old Usenet up through Yahoo groups and Google groups and all these sorts of things. They're communities of users who have a common interest and communicate with each other on that topic. So if you've ever used any of those kinds of things, this is very similar. So that's just kind of some terminology, and I want to just review my feeling on what are different ways that Facebook can be relevant to callers. And you can use Facebook many different ways. Some people, their whole life revolves around Facebook, it seems. They're always online, they use it for all of their communications. And then at the other extreme, you have people who are only on there for one particular purpose. They want to communicate with their grandmother or whatever. They want to share photos with somebody in their family, and that's it. And that's the only information they put on there. And there's everything in between. So, on the second page of this handout, I have 4 general categories. General communications. If you're on Facebook because you want to communicate with various people in your life who are also on Facebook, and you can post your status updates, you can post pictures, videos, send each other messages. One thing is important to keep in mind is that Facebook is not the entire world. Even though there's 2.1 billion users or whatever it is, there are lots of people that are not on Facebook, and there are many other ways to achieve the same ends. So I think it's a mistake to think of, oh, we're going to use Facebook and that's going to solve all our problems. No, if you are running a club or something and you need to send notices to people, you can't assume that everybody in the club is going to be on Facebook. You still need to have a regular email list. You still have to have something like, a newsletter or something to communicate with people. So why is it important as a caller to use Facebook for general communications, to talk to your kids or your neighbors or whatever? Well, if you do that and you post things about square dancing, you're letting all those other people in your lives know about square dancing. So I post a lot of videos, for example. I make videos at various square dance events, and I either put them directly on Facebook or I put them on YouTube, and I put a link on Facebook to those YouTube videos. So everybody who I know for any reason is constantly reminded about square dancing, and I think that's a good thing. The next way that I think that Facebook is important to callers, as it would be for anybody in any kind of profession, is that it's a place to communicate with other people in your profession, in your activity, and learn from each other. This is where the groups come in, and I'm going to say some more about that. But if you are in one of these groups, it's a good way to both learn from other people and to help other people. And I'll say more about that when I get to some examples of specific groups. Third thing is, as a caller, you are a business person, right? Your calling is a business, and to the extent that it's a business, you want to promote it, this is an opportunity to reach people who you might not otherwise reach. If you're completely a local caller and you only deal with the people in one club, well, they already know about you. But to the extent that you're trying to go further, then like any other business, you want to advertise. And the Facebook page concept is a good thing to make use of for there. And I think Teresa's going to give you a lot more details on how you can use that and how you can see whether you're being successful. And then the fourth thing I have listed here is organizing a group, organizing a club, organizing a class. You can use the Facebook group idea as a way to do that. And there are many, many square dance clubs that already have a group associated with them. And they post their notices, and a lot of organizations no longer have a printed newsletter. And this can be the way that you get a lot of that kind of communication done. So I'd like to just talk in some detail about the idea of the groups that are relevant to callers. And as was mentioned in the intro, I started a group on Facebook fairly early, in 2006, before most callers were on Facebook, and I called it Square Dance Callers. And it has grown over the years, and we have almost 2,000 people participating in that now. And it was intended as a very general purpose group. But if you've been involved in any kind of online discussion group, you know they can grow and they can go, because the discussions can kind of go crazy, and some people want to use it for this and some people want to use it for that. And the traffic can get too large and people want to go away because there's too much. So as it's grown, I have tried to manage it in a way that keeps it useful for the widest possible set of people, callers and other people interested in calling, without letting any one topic get too crazy and drive people away because they're not interested in it. And fortunately, other people who are interested in specific aspects of square dancing and square dance calling have set up other more specialized groups. So there's a natural subdivision. There's one place you can go. If you're just interested in calling, you can ask any question, you can make any comment that's really relevant to calling. But if you just want to talk about a specific topic, or you want to talk about a specific topic in depth, there are other groups you can join. So I've got listed here some of the more popular ones. They're actually in order by popularity. I just went through and looked at how many members they had as of about a month ago. So as I said, there's almost 2,000 people in this general Square Dance Callers group. There's a Square Dance video group that has about 1,400 members, and that's just what it sounds like. It's just like videos. People post videos there, either directly uploaded to Facebook or links to YouTube. There's a Square Dance music group, and that's where people get into lots of discussion, announcements of new music, questions about music, producers bragging about their music. That's an example of something I don't want on the general Square Dance Callers thing. Basically, my policy is you may announce each new song once, because people don't want to hear every week about the same song, about how great it is, because they're there to hear other things. There is another group which is also called Square Dance Callers that somebody else formed. The motivation, I believe, was that they wanted one that was private. They wanted ones that people couldn't see without joining. I kind of glossed over that. Facebook groups actually come in 3 flavors. They come in public groups, which anybody can read the messages. They come in private groups where only the members can read the messages. And they come in secret groups, which are private, but also they don't get listed anywhere. Somebody has to tell you about it and send you a link to it. So most of these groups are public. There aren't any great secrets in them, but some people felt like they wanted a place that was not public, and I think that was the original reason that this group was created. And some people like that, so there's 2. There's similarly one called Square Dance Topics and Issues, and this isn't specifically callers. This is actually, I think, a dancer-originated thing. Yes, are you the moderator for that?
Yes, I am.
And I believe it was intended to be much broader than just callers. It could be problems that come up in clubs and things like that. Then there's a couple that are related to newer callers. There's one called newbie callers. There's one called callers in training. One of them is public, one of them isn't. There's a couple of ones dealing with choreography, people asking questions about calls, about how sequences work, and suggestions and ideas and all those things. So, my suggestion is if you are on Facebook and you haven't already explored these groups, the public ones, just go and look at them, see what's going on in each of them. I hope you are all members of the General Square Dance Callers group. If you're not, please join. And participate in these groups, each in the spirit that their moderators seem to want them to be used. Put general things in the general group, put specific things in the specific groups, and help everybody learn from each other. So that's my overview, and now I think Teresa's going to talk about pages and
Yes,
so
so
forth.
thanks, Joe, for that really nice overview. So I've got a lot of information here on the screen, and so I'm a visual person, so you'll notice I show a lot of different things. Is the speaker in the way? We can turn it over now. Sure. Yep. No problem. All right, so I'm going to start here. I've got some general tips. So as a millennial, I have a little different perspective on Facebook, but I see a lot of different things, and I kind of just explore to see what works. Guess and check is the best. So I'm going to talk specifically about Facebook pages. So those are, generally run by individuals that represent an organization or a club, or even a caller can have a Facebook page. And so here's an overview of the topics we'll discuss in this section. So the use of tagging, events, the insights, the publishing tools on those Facebook pages, and then just some tips that I have found work for me. So tagging, when I say tagging on Facebook, does anybody know what that means, right? What do I mean tagging, right? That means I'm referencing someone else, something else, or somewhere else, okay? So this @ symbol is what we look at when we're looking at tagging. So let me show you an example here. On the screen, it's showing an example of if I were to start creating a post on Facebook. Now, this is if I'm doing it on my general page, on my personal profile, on an event, in a page, in a group. If I start typing, and the example I posted here is I typed having a blast at the CALLERLAB convention. If I put an @ symbol before the word CALLERLAB, it automatically brings up some options of pages or events that are out there. All right. So I can click on the 46th CALLERLAB convention. There's an event that's out there. Then I can tag that. I can connect my post to that other event. Now the benefit of doing this is it's increasing the scope of my conversation, right? Not only can I see the information that my friends can see the post that I'm making, people that are on that event can see the post, or people can link to that post. So if I'm sharing, I'm trying to promote the convention, I'm tagging them in my post. Other friends of mine that are callers or dancers, they're going to see this and go to that link. It provides a link where they can go directly to that event. Or if I were to tag the CALLERLAB page, it would send them directly to the page. And that's a direct link to that advertising source. Another way that you can do this is you can tag people. So on the screen, this is another example. If I were to create a post, I'm presenting a session at the 46th CALLERLAB convention. Again, that where it's highlighted in blue, that's a link. Okay, so it's going to direct people directly there. And then I can tag different people. So you can see if I put an @ symbol in front of their name, that allows it to link directly to that person. And then, they can decide if that shows up on their personal page or not in the settings option. But here again, I'm increasing that scope of my conversation. I'm getting my message out to more than one place. More than just my friends can see that information. This is another example. So you can see here when I'm tagging a picture, that means I'm connecting the person's profile to their image. And so Facebook has a cool feature where it's going to auto tag people based on their face. It does some facial recognition features. And again, this is a great way to promote square dancing, especially pictures where people look like they're having a lot of fun. You can tag them in that photo, and then their friends will see that as well. Again, it's all about increasing the scope or increasing the number of people who are seeing information about our activity. So the next thing I'll talk about are hashtags. So this is using that pound or the number sign that we millennials now know as the hashtag. All right. And so no, we don't mean hash brown, we mean hashtags, all right, the pound or the number sign. These are keywords, okay? So again, if you say hashtag square dance, That's going to create a link, and then it's going to connect all of the posts that say hashtag square dance, and it kind of acts as a category. It's searchable, so if people see that hashtag, they can click on it and see other related posts. So I did that the other day. I typed in hashtag square dancing in the search bar on Facebook, and these were those results that came up. So you can see different people have used that hashtag across the platform, categorizing their conversation as square dancing related. And so you can do all kinds of different hashtags, right? Hashtag CALLERLAB. If you're on the CALLERLAB Facebook page, you'll notice that throughout the week we've been posting hashtag CALLERLAB 2019. A great way to just categorize information. And in this case, right, these people maybe didn't know that I was going to bring their information up, but I'm able to see these just by that category, okay? Again, increasing that scope of our conversation, getting our information out there so that it's searchable, it's findable, and it's categorized. Another tool on Facebook are events. So this is putting together not necessarily a page, but it's really just an event. So going through the event details, what that looks like and how that works. So I'm going to show you an example here. This is what the event looks like. So when you click create event, it's a blue button, very obvious, says create event. And this allows you to enter the event name, the location, the description, date, and time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring up Facebook and show you real time what that looks like. So hang tight just a second. So here we go. This is Facebook Live, all right? Just went to Facebook and I have that link directly to the events page. This is the event that CALLERLAB that we created for the convention, okay? So you can see here, it has a photo at the top where we can see what the event, we can put a picture there, we can put an advertisement, whatever we think is going to attract the attention of our viewers or our followers. I'm going to click the edit button here to show you what that creation looks like. Now the information is already pre-filled in because I did this at home, but you can see it allows you to type in the name. You can select a location. So in this case, I had selected the Omni Richmond Hotel. They have their own Facebook page. Just like I mentioned tagging before, I tagged Omni Richmond in my event so that the page is automatically linking. So the Omni Richmond is seeing my posts that I'm, if somebody searches Omni Richmond, some of the photos I'm posting are going to start popping up. So again, we're increasing the number of people outside of the activity and outside of our convention who are seeing the things that are happening as well. That provides a description. You'll notice next to each of the section headings, there's a little circle with an I in it. That's an information box. So if you have a question, what is this field asking for? What are some things I can put in this field? Hover over that little I. That gives you some additional information on things that you could include in that box. For the description, it said the descriptions help provide more information about your events so that guests know what to expect. So I provided some details. Here's that hashtag I talked about, hashtag CALLERLAB 2019, a way to categorize the conversation, a way for that to show up if someone were to find that hashtag. You can enter the start and the end times. Now they're grayed out at this point because the event has already started, it's ongoing, and we're not going to change the times since in the past. Let's see here. The ticket section is something that you want to definitely include a link for. So Facebook is not eliminating the need for a website still, right? You still want to link information back here. You want to have a different place that people can go to get maybe your schedule, to get more information about the price or the fee or anything else that they want to know about that event. You need some other way for them to contact you. So the tickets link, that's where we just direct people right to the CALLERLAB convention website on the CALLERLAB page. And that allows them to see more information, get a copy of that registration form. The options at the bottom here are important. This lets you choose who can post in the event. So I've got it set up so that anyone can post. The other option is that only admins can post. So this is saying, if somebody comes to the event and they want to post a question, they could post a question about the event, or they could post their own pictures in the event. I've got it set up that way. Now that means that I can still moderate. I can still see, what else do I need? What else, do I need to delete anything if it's not appropriate for the content? It still lets me do that, but I'm letting those posts automatically go through. The other option when you're first setting up the event is that you can set it so that you can have to approve content before it posts to the page. So that way if somebody says, they post a picture, I'm at the CALLERLAB convention, it would pop up as a notification for the administrators of the page to approve that content before it goes on the event or the page. So let me click save here. Let me show you some features once we create that event, what we'll show. At the top, there's a button, so when you invite friends, they can select whether they're going or interested or not going. And so then you can see the administrators of the page can see, and then also the other attendees can see people who have noted going, all right, people who have noted interested, and then you can also see who's been invited to that event. Now, this is not necessarily, this is not a confirmation or an RSVP. These are really just people who are indicating, okay, I'm interested or this looks like fun. One of the really cool tools that I've used with events before is creating information about lessons, or we hosted an introduction to square dancing in my hometown. And so I created this Facebook event and just really pushed it, right? I would send it out, I invited a ton of people that I knew, and then I started posting it on community groups, right? So Joe mentioned there's square dance groups, and in my hometown there are groups for the community. So people who are looking for community activities and different things that are happening, I would post the event, I would share the event to that page, and then all of those people who I don't even know, they're seeing this event, and they start to mark interested, right? And so then this gives me, contacts. This gives me a list of names of people that I can send a quick follow-up message to. So the week before lessons, I would go through and I would look at the interested tab and I would say, okay, I don't know this person, but if you hover over their name, it's going to show you a message button, and you can send them a private message. So I would send them and I would say, hey, I saw that you're interested in square dancing in LaPorte this next Sunday. We'd love to have you. Let me know if you have any questions. And so we got several people that came to our event, from that direct follow-up, only from the Facebook page. So this is a really cool free marketing tool and a really good way to get out into your community specifically through that event page, okay? Another thing you can look at here, again, here's those details that we showed, we put those in, and then we can start looking at recent posts. All right, so you can see 2 minutes ago, we had someone post on our event, one of our attendees at this session. Thanks for the great demonstration. So let's click See All Posts, and let's see what that looks like. So if we scroll down, all right, so Denise, sitting right here, she made a post. Oh, lovely, look at us, all right? So she posted, she's having a great time at this session, all right? And so it automatically posted, it popped up in that page, so that people who are following the event, who have marked either interested or going, they can see that information on the page. It's going to pop up as a notification for them that says, Denise posted in the group, okay? So that's one of the options. Now if I scroll down here, you can see it's going to show people have started liking all of the events we posted. Photos from last night are posted. We even did some live videos of the auction last night. So all of kinds of different features, right? Those basic Facebook features. Posts, links, videos, live videos, all kinds of information are things that you can include here in that event page. So it's specific to your event. And you could share those across the platform as well. But this is a great way, like I said, to promote specific events. And for our state convention, we do this. I post an event, and so I post content leading up to that event to get people excited. And then while we're at the event, I continue to post content so that people who are there, people who are at home, maybe they said, I can't come this year, or I've never come, I'm not going to that, that state. But then they're seeing my content throughout the weekend, and they're like, okay, look at all of these cool things that are happening. Maybe I should think about going to that event or go to those lessons next time they're offered. So this is, again, just another way to get your face out there, to get your name out there, and to share what's going on with your activity. So I will, again, lots of different things. As you can see, I'm utilizing a lot of those features I talked about at the beginning. I posted, yesterday evening, the Monday evening banquet. I used our hashtag CALLERLAB 2019, and then I tagged some people who were in some of those photos. Okay, so you can see the people in those photos are tagged. So you can see who's there. Just lots of opportunities to see lots of different people, to see lots of different events. And again, that location, because we're tagged in the location, Omni Richmond is also going to see some of those photos as well. Again, increasing that scope of conversation is huge. This is a great way to increase our reach and our engagement. So let's move back. The next thing I'll talk about are the insights and publishing tools. So switching gears from events, we're going to switch over to using pages. And what are some of the tools and features that Facebook offers for free for us? Lots of different things here. So the first thing are insights. This is going to look at how your page is doing, all right? How's it working? Page performance looks at audience, who is looking at your page, who's following your page, who's responding to your page, and what is that engagement rate? How many people are clicking on your page? Facebook tells you that. Okay, and so I'll show you that here in a second. Second feature I'll talk about are publishing tools. So this is managing your content, looking at your posts, searching through the things that you've posted, creating content, and managing existing content. Okay, so that's kind of vague. So I'm going to show you real time what that looks like. This is a screenshot of our Insights page, and I'll click you to take you there. So this is an overview. This is the CALLERLAB Facebook page. So if you're not already following that page, I'd encourage you to do so. You do that just by liking it, and you can see the post content there. So, obviously this is if we go back to the page, that's going to show us, what that page looks like.
Question from the audience. Please state your name and where you're from.
My name is Denise Carbonell and I'm from Sanford, Maine. And that overview page that she was showing, you'll be able to see if you are an administrator or moderator for the page. If you are just going to the page, you will not be able to access that.
Yes, good point. Thank you for including that. Yeah, good point. This is the administrator view. So if your club president is the administrator, it's good to have more than one person on, right, as an administrator. That way multiple people are working on that content and multiple people are posting and have access to the page. So thank you for that clarification. So if we go back here to the insights, again, in the administrator view, we've got all these tabs where we can see who's reacting. So this overview page is going to show us what actions have been taken on our page. So we can see, things like page views, page previews, page likes, is it up, is it down? You can look at that for a specific timeline and that you can choose, right? This is looking at the last 7 days. If we look at the last 28 days, you can see kind of the trend. Where are we up, where are we down? The next thing that I want to look at, let me pull up here, make sure I don't miss it. Perfect. Okay, so let's look at page likes. This is going to show us who is liking our page. And so we can see total page likes. We've had a little bit of an increase in the past couple months here. And again, you can look for a point in time, generally for about a year. You can see, I think this is showing a quarter right now. And so you can see people that are liking your page or unliking your page. If you post something controversial or that is not connected to the activity, you may see a decrease in the number of likes, or maybe you're just posting too often. Lots of different factors, but you just kind of want to see, what content is increasing your like count, what content is decreasing your like count. You can also see where those page likes happen, just some additional information. The next link here is the reach category. So this is going to show you how many people had any posts from your page enter on their screen. So when you're scrolling through that news feed, any posts that pop up, that when it shows up on that news feed, it means it reached someone. Okay, and so this shows us, the number of people that we're reaching. If you look, there's kind of a spike here. We had a spike based on a really popular post that we had, and so that was increased the number of people who are seeing our content on a daily basis. It goes up and down, based on how often we're posting, how popular the content is that we're posting, and then from there. So the next part we'll talk about are our posts. Now this gets pretty specific, but I think it's really good details to have. So this is going to show us, this first category is the time section. So this is showing us when people that follow us are online. So you can see this kind of peak is maybe about 1 p.m. and this is all in your standard computer time. All right, so right now we're in the Eastern time zone. So these times are Eastern time zone. So about 1 p.m. is when we hit our max, and then it's pretty consistent. And then we drop off and hit our low about 4 a.m. So that's when the least amount of people that follow us are online. Makes sense. So,
maybe that it may be this least number of people, but they're still there.
They're still there.
Viewers at 4 a.m., please get a life. Thank you.
Oh, we live in different time zones. It's okay. All right. So, but this is maybe if you want something that's going to generate a really quick response, you want people to see it right away, and you want people to respond right away, maybe post it at a time that people are online the most. Something to play with when you're thinking about your content and when you're managing your content posting. It's also just kind of interesting to see what that looks like. If we scroll down a little bit, still under that post category, this is going to show us all of our published posts. So every single piece of content that we've posted during the page's existence is going to show up here. You can see the date that it was published and the time, and then also a quick description of that post. Then it'll show you what type of post that is, whether it's a photo, a link, or just a text, a regular, post. It's going to show you the reach, how many people saw that. Again, that little I shows if it reaches someone through paid or organic distribution. In this case, we don't have any paid advertising on this particular page, so this is all just generated from that organic distribution. It also shows us our engagement, so how many people clicked on the page, how many people reacted. And so reacting means they either liked it, they did a little heart, a sad face, a happy face, whatever their reaction was. Liking it is a reaction, okay? Same thing with comments. So if we kind of scroll through, we can see the different comments. You can see that in March we had a really popular post that reached 6,000 people. So this was one of our photos that we posted. 6,000 people, and then different comments, how many people shared it, how many people commented, reacted, that kind of thing. So this is a good way to kind of track what content am I posting that's going well, that people like, and what other things maybe just aren't getting the reaction, maybe people just don't really care about, okay? But really great tools to kind of look at what we're doing and how we can do that a little bit better. If we look at the event section, again, like I mentioned, the event page there is something that we can use to promote a particular event, something that's happening one time or multiple times. In our case, we just had that one event, so nothing upcoming, not a lot of data there to see. But if you're, posting about, maybe this is for your club, and you post an event for each dance that you have once a month, maybe your content here is going to show you a little bit more about the reach you have and whether that's going up or down based on your content. The next section here I'll show you is the people section. So this is going to show us who are our fans. It's not going to tell us their names, but it's going to tell us a little bit about them, some demographic information. So you can see on the screen here, your fans is going to show us 44% of our current fans are women and 55% are men. The bar graph here shows us the age range of our followers. So you can see that 15% here are women 65 and over, 20% are men 65 and over, and kind of down from there. Expected, right, based on our population. So this may give you an idea of, if your club is changing in the dynamic or the age range of your dancers. This is going to show you your followers, okay, just the people who have liked your page on Facebook. At the bottom, it shows you a little bit of information about where those people are from, their country, their city, and their language. So this is kind of interesting to see, are your followers local? In our case, our followers are worldwide, so we get a whole range of different countries and cities and languages listed. We can also look at just our followers, the people who just follow the page, again, an estimate, about the same numbers there. Now, if we click on the reach is where it changes a little bit. These aren't necessarily people who have liked our page, but these are people who see our content from people who share it. So if if CALLERLAB posted a picture of, the session, and people, maybe I went in and I shared it with my friends. People that are not connected to the CALLERLAB page are going to see that content and they're seeing the CALLERLAB message. And so this is showing us the people that are reached from our content posts. So 65% of the people that we reached are women, 34% are men, and again, you can see those break down by age. 26%, the highest majority, are women 65 and older. They're the ones that are seeing our content most frequently. So you can use this, if a lot of millennials are seeing your content, that's going to change how you're posting versus, the baby boomer generation. What kind of content are they looking at? And how are you targeting that to them? You can also see engagement. So reached just means that they saw it. It appeared on their newsfeed somewhere. They didn't do anything with it. They may have scrolled past it, but they saw it. If we look at engagement, these are people who are talking about the page, okay? So either they're commenting, they're sharing the post, they're liking it, and again, you can see that breakdown. 41% of all the people engaged in our page are women 65 and older. So just an interesting kind of dynamic looking at how all of those different things work. The next piece I'll talk about here is if we switch to the tab across the top, it's called Publishing Tools. This is going to show us some information about creating and managing our content. And again, content is looking at posts, videos, photos, links, anything that we're sharing on the page, and how we do that. So this is, again, going to show us an overview of our posts that are published. This means that they are live, they are out there, people can see them if they're on our Facebook page. Shows you an overview of the post. Again, that reach is listed, the number of people who clicked on the picture, either they opened it, they liked it, they commented, they took some action. to see that. And again, at the side, you can see the date and the time that it was posted. And if you have multiple page admins, you'll be able to see which admin posted that content. The viewers, the followers of your page cannot see the admin specifically, so they don't know who from CALLERLAB is posting. They just know that CALLERLAB is posting. Okay, so your page admins are posting the content, but your followers don't know who's posting what. They can just see the post and the date and the time that that content comes out. So again, this is going to show you, which posts are performing well, what content you have out there. This lets you search through the content that you've created as well. So if I just want to look for information that I posted about the convention and I want to see everything I posted about the convention, I can type that in the search bar, hit enter, and it's going to pull up anything that has the word convention in it. So you can see, back on April 10th, we had the convention app post go up, and that was very popular. So we can see, okay, that was a really popular post. Anything that has the word convention in it is going to show up in that content post. And let's go here. The next thing I'll talk about are scheduled posts. So this is allowing you to create content in advance. And so this is a really cool tool because I know that you are all busy people, right? You may have a week where I just don't have time. I just don't have time to go in, create events, create posts, create pictures. This allows you to do that in advance. So you can see I've created some posts here. Now if you go out on the page as a follower, you won't see these because they're not live yet, okay? And I'll show you in a second how to create that. But here's one of our examples. If I click on this, it's set for June 5th at 10 a.m. So I've set the date and a specific time that I want this content to go live. I've got the description, I've got the link, I've got the photo, and then on that date, it's going to go live. So all of my followers will be able to see that at that specific time. So let me show you how you create that. Again, you're under the publishing tools and then scheduled posts. You can create a scheduled post here. So again, just like a regular post that you would create, you can type your content, you can paste links, you can enter photos. In this case, let's just start here. You'll see that instead of post, like normally shows up, there's a schedule button. Okay, so this lets you pick the date and the time directly on what content is showing. So if I click schedule, you can select that date and time in the future. For whenever you can decide what time. Maybe your followers are really online at 10 a.m. And so you want to post at 9:30 so that they see it right when they get up in the morning. That's a great way to get in that newsfeed right away. Maybe you're not a morning person, or maybe you're already at work at that time and you can't get in the computer and post that content. You can schedule it so that it's appearing. You can schedule your content to appear frequently or infrequently, however you want to do that. The other feature here is the new distribution schedule. So maybe you are posting about your event or your lessons, and those lessons end on a certain date. You can tell Facebook to stop sharing that information. It'll still show up on your page if people scroll down to it, but it's going to stop appearing as a new item on people's newsfeed after that stop distribution date is selected. So if I were to check that box, I can decide, there we go. I can decide a date in the future when I want that content to not show up anymore. And that, lets you not have old, outdated content showing up on people's pages. Keeps you relevant, keeps it, up to date and informed. So again, that scheduled post is definitely a cool tool. If I want to publish it right away, I can definitely do that through that little arrow next to the schedule button. I can backdate it. I can post it as if it was posted yesterday or a week ago. Lots of flexibility here, and if I'm not quite done, I can save the draft and I can come back to it later. Okay, so maybe I'm working, get interrupted, or I just want to take a break and I want to come back to that post. I'm not quite done with it yet. There's a draft section here. So I can go in, there's that content I started. Nothing is going to happen with it until I go back into the draft and edit the draft. All right. And then here is that link for the expiring post. I haven't set up any posts to expire, but if I had clicked that Stop Newsfeed Distribution button, the content would no longer show up on people's newsfeed, and this would tell me those posts that are expiring. So lots of information there. I know that was a very detailed overview, lots of good information. I've got a couple tips, but if you have questions at this point, we can pause for some questions, and then we can go in and finish up with some additional tips. So question in the front, go ahead.
Ted Rotman, southeastern Pennsylvania. A lot of the people in our club are not on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we communicate via emails. About 98% of our members do that. we use the Google group, our federation of clubs uses that. So what we're interested in, and we're hoping Facebook can help us with, is we want to recruit people who aren't in the square dance community. So how do I go about it? I see I have to create a page for our organization. All the people that we have that are going to organize things have to create a profile, otherwise they're not going to let me on there, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
let's just minimize it. Our square dance committee, there's 4 or 5 people in this. We all go and create a profile. One of us goes and creates a page. So now, how do I communicate with people that I don't know? Now I'm used to, the other way I do these things is through Google. I go into Google and I say, I'm interested in this topic, or how to do this, or whatever. And Google does its job, and it comes out and gives me anywhere from 3 to 57 different possibilities. And I glance over all of them, and I say, oh, that's pretty close to what I want. So with that in mind, what's our next step?
Yeah, so I think that kind of the best is if you're like brand new to this, right? And I'm going to create a profile for myself, and I'm going to create a page for our club, and then we're going to start promoting our activity or promoting this specific event. And the best way is to start adding friends, right, on Facebook. Connect with people that you know, right? Find other people you know on Facebook, connect with them, and then share your content with them. And then, they know other people, right? Mutual friends or non-mutual friends, people that they know that you don't know, they can share that content with those people as well. The other thing, like I mentioned earlier, is to create an event or create a post, and then find other groups. Like Joe mentioned, the square dance groups. There are groups for all kinds of things on Facebook. Like I mentioned, we have a community group. In the town that I live in, there's a group for the library. I'm going to share that with the library, and I'm going to say, hey, can you post this on your Facebook page? So the library posted and said, hey, this community organization is hosting a dance. Check it out. All right, so that's a way to kind of connect with other pages that are already existing, and that's how people are going to see it, is by sharing the content with different organizations that are already out there on Facebook. So a good way is maybe just Google, or just in the search bar type in your town or type in your area and see what kind of content pops up, what kind of pages are out there, what kind of groups are out there, who's out there from that area that could share your content for you. Does that help a little bit?
You just sort of right over my head.
Oh.
You went too fast. So you're telling me I want to put my friends on. I'm not on Facebook. I don't know which of my friends are on Facebook. The question is, give me something similar to when I go on Google and I say to Google, I'm interested in square dancing. But I want to connect to people who I don't know how these other, I see the connection to the library. If I can somehow connect and get the library to post my event, now all of a sudden I've got all these people that go to the library, they know nothing about square dancing, but they may see that there and say, oh, that's the kind of connection. So how do I get to post things on libraries and similar type, or not groups, they're pages, I guess. A library would have a page, right?
Yeah, and that's really a feature of Facebook that offers the search feature. So searching, you don't know what's out there until you start searching. Yeah, so the search, kind of like on Google, there's a search just for Facebook. Up here in the box here is a search. So I could type in anything here and it's going to bring up, and so you can see, does it exist? Does a page exist for the library or not? And so that's kind of like the Google is using Facebook search function.
So now I've searched and I found some things that I want to, what's the word, post?
Link to.
To link, yeah.
Link,
Engage.
I think I want to link to. So now what's the next step? I add that to, what do I add that to?
Yeah, so then you're going to use the share feature, using sharing, and that's, a basic, just like liking or commenting, you can share, and so you would share your content.
So I
with those
share
pages.
this, now I'm in the library, and I regularly go on the Facebook page of the library. Somehow, because I've shared, my thing's going to show up there?
If they approve it, yeah. There's a lot of different features, and pages are run by specific administrators, so they'll decide, and definitely kind of look through. When you click that share button, it'll give you some options. So yeah, good question. There's lots of options on Facebook that'll give you the share options as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good question. All right, so we have some other questions.
your information.
We have,
Oh, you are.
oh, I'm sorry, Tony Rock from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have a Facebook page, a personal Facebook page that we use for, our friends, our close friends and family, to show family photos and that kind of thing like a lot of people do. Can I separate the square dance related stuff, or would I need to set up another profile on Facebook to keep the square dance stuff separate so that I don't jam up my personal page with square dance stuff that I don't necessarily want to? I mean, I may have some of the same friends on the square dance page, but I may not want them to see all my personal stuff.
So that's the distinction between the profile and the page. Facebook's policy is each person is supposed to have a profile, and you're not supposed to create multiple profiles. There are people who do that, but that's what the pages are designed for. So you as an individual have a profile, and then if you have different business interests, if you want to promote an organization or a cause, then you should be creating a page. So that's where you would put all of the notices and things that you want to be specific to the square dance viewers. And you wouldn't necessarily be friends with those people. I kind of glossed over, there's some of the terminology that I put on the first page there that I didn't specifically talk about because Brian discovered that, whatever, 90% of the people in the room were already Facebook users, so it seemed redundant. But Facebook has the concept of friends, which is a relationship among the profiles, the users, the individuals. And it's a mutual relationship. You're a friend with, if I'm a friend with Teresa, then she's a friend with me, and we can do certain things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do that's different from the rest of the general Facebook population. I will be notified when she posts things on her profile, on her personal profile. She'll be notified when I post things. If I allow my friends, I can allow my friends to post things on my profile. So that's a relationship among individuals. The page is a different kind of thing. The page is more of a central hierarchical thing. You have the page is liked by, they use the word like, which means you are connecting to that page, you are interested in that page, you will receive notices from that page, but it's not a symmetric relationship. It's you're kind of looking up at that page and you see things that are there, but the page administrator can't find out about you, can't find out about details. They don't have this sort of special friend relationship with you. It's more a one-way relationship. But it's similar in that when you like a page, you will start getting information about that page. And I just want to say something about this. How do I find where to put things? I think the search can be part of that, but mostly I think if you are an active Facebook user and you interact with people who have similar overlapping interests with you, you will start discovering the kinds of places that are relevant. So if you are on Facebook and you have a bunch of friends who live in the same community, then you will see that they are doing things in certain groups or liking certain pages. You'll see that they are attending certain events. So I'm constantly getting notices about my friends that they are going to this event or that event, and that even if I'm not interested in that event personally, it gives me an idea of what other groups are out there, what kind of other pages are out there that are relevant to my activity and my local area. So if I wanted to then announce a class or something, that would give me a hook. That would be, oh, I see, there's this other dance group. I'm not interested in them. I'm not a round dancer, but there's a round dance group or folk dance group or something. I know that there are other communities, either groups or pages out there that might be a good thing for me to hook into. And you don't really know that unless you get involved.
Question. So up here, and then we've got a couple in the back, I think.
Al Frazier. Al Frazier.
Al Frazier from Texas. Say I want to promote a class, and I want to reach the people within a 15-mile radius of where this class is going to be. And the demographics I want 15 to 65 age. What's the best way to promote that class and get people that are non-square dancers and that they see that post and that hey, there's something going on here, so I want to reach those kinds of people.
Yeah, that's a good question. So Facebook does offer paid advertising. I haven't personally used paid advertising. I don't know if you guys have. So this is a way that you can target a specific population through Facebook. So if you select, whenever you see the option for boost, that means paid advertising. So if you were to click boost, it would say, we can cater the population. So you can select, I want to get, 350 page clicks, and I want to target, this demographic in this zip code or in this mile radius. So that's, again, it costs you to do that, but then Facebook will make that appear as an ad on the side of the page or as a sponsored post in the news feed of those people. So they'll see that it's a sponsored or an ad, and again, that's going to cost, and you can set, when we looked at doing this for our club, we went in and we looked and so, okay, for this, we had a post we wanted to share with the community. So we selected an age range, and we had a credit with Facebook. So we said the credit was for $15. This is the population we want to target. Here's the zip code that we want to categorize these folks with, and we boosted the post, okay? And so then it would, run through our $15 until it had reached out, it had maxed out that $15, and that showed how many people saw the page. We didn't really get a response from that, but again, we only had the $15 credit that Facebook gave us, so we didn't resort or allocate any resources to that. But if your club has the funding for something like that or wants to really look at Facebook as an advertising tool, definitely something to look into. I just don't have any personal experience with if it's successful or how much you would have to spend to have a successful advertising campaign. Do you have a note about advertising, and then we'll get to your question.
Alan Hurst, Sunnyvale, California. So we've been using Facebook to boost our monthly fun nights, which is what we get people to recruit them, and we'll be talking about that at 2:30 later on. But it's our new recruiting model, and we spend $25 a month. We started with 50, we decided 25 was good enough. We started about 2 weeks out from the event. Much more than that, people seem to kind of lose interest, or it's not close enough for them. And it works very well. We've gotten quite a few new people in the door just from boosting. But you need to be patient, you need to be very precise in your targeting. Once you have targeted who you want, it will save that information. Where's Brian? Do you want to tell the story, or do you want to tell the story?
You tell it, but keep it short.
So if you decide to boost your posts, do not mention politics or politician names. We had a local politician who was signing free copies of a history book he'd written, and I mentioned this in our post, and Facebook branded me as a political organizer. Suddenly I was a Russian spy, and I had to submit my driver's license front and back. I had to submit all my personal information again. Then I had to wait for them to mail me via US snail mail a secret code to put into the page to unlock my ability to boost any posts anywhere. And now my account is branded as a political organizer. Das Vidanya Komrad. Because of all of the Russian spam bots. So, and every time I boost a post, I have to check a box saying this is or is not a political post. And it says, this post paid for by El Camino Reelers, a not-for-profit square dance club in Palo Alto, California, because we are, of course, now a political organization. So be careful what you put in there.
So great, yeah, thank you for that story, but I think that this is something you can definitely explore, and as Facebook continues to boom with the generation, that's something good. So yeah, go ahead, question.
Mike Sikorsky, Apache Junction, Arizona. I see the incredible value of being able to create a post and then schedule it to repost at certain times. Particularly when I'm on an airplane, for instance, it'll post anyway, that sort of thing. What I'm not clear on is why would I use hashtag versus the @ symbol and vice versa in what I want to accomplish?
Good question. So the @ symbol is going to tag a specific thing. So there has to be an existing page, a person that you're tagging, and so that's going to link you directly to an existing page or an existing person. Now, the hashtag is going to categorize it. So, there's many square dance groups or square dance pages, but if I just want to categorize my conversation as a square dance related post, I'm going to use hashtag square dancing or hashtag square dance. That's not going to link it to, the square dance callers page or the square dance page, because that's, there's many of those pages. But hashtag is just categorizing, putting a tag on it that this is a specific category, this is a keyword that tells me a little bit more about the post. Not as common in Facebook, something I didn't mention is that, hashtags originated in Twitter, okay? And this is a Facebook session, but that's the origination of the hashtag where the characters are limited, we're getting very specific information in a short period of time. But that's kind of carried over into Facebook as a keyword, as a tag, but really categorizing the conversation through those hashtags, whereas the tag is linking to a very specific page or person. So hashtags are kind of general categories, tags are specific.
Thank you.
Good question.
Glenda Torvik, Tennessee, talking about the same thing. So where I've been posting stuff to my square dance to my personal page, and then I share it to the 70th page, you're saying I can just put at 70 NSDC, the link, and that would automatically share it to my 70th page or not?
Good question. So on pages, sometimes it depends how the page is set up. So with pages, like if we look at, let me pull up the CALLERLAB Facebook page again. So if I were to tag in my personal profile, if I were to say I am at CALLERLAB, it's not going to show up in the news feed of the page, okay? It's going to show up as a tagged post. So if I go back here to the page, again, this is the page, and I go down here to the posts on the page, this is as a user, they would be able to see the content, in the main news feed. So here's the content that we've shared, that CALLERLAB, the administrators have put out. Over on the side, you'll see this link for visitor posts. So if I click on that, it's going to show me everyone who has tagged CALLERLAB or shared something to CALLERLAB. So this is, if you're tagging CALLERLAB, it's going to show up in that visitor post section. So if you really want it to go out and be distributed to your followers, sharing it directly as the page or to the page as the page is going to be the most beneficial for the most reach. This is just going to show up in the visitor post section. Good question.
Or if you're the admin of the page, then you probably want to put the announcement originally on the page. And then share, you and everybody else who's interested, who wants to promote it, share that to your personal page. So people are looking back, they're encouraged to look at the main thing.
So, but as a poster, you can decide where do I want the content to originate. So if I'm posting content, I'm going to decide, is that coming from Teresa Berger? Is that coming from CALLERLAB? Is that coming from my home club that I manage their page? Or is that coming from my state convention that I manage their page? I decide on Facebook who I'm acting as, which role I'm in, right? Am I my personal profile? Am I the page administrator for page 1, page 2, etc.? When I'm posting an original comment, so maybe, for one of the guides that we posted for the CALLERLAB marketing manual, I posted that as CALLERLAB, and then personally, right, I wanted to share that with my friends, so I went to the CALLERLAB page and I shared the post from CALLERLAB to my friends so that they could see that as well. But the originator was CALLERLAB was posting that. So, but good question about the pages.
I'll just, Brian Jarvis, Silver Spring, Maryland, add one extra comment. You can ask your friends to share something to extend your range even further. So I go to CALLERLAB, I share that on my timeline. If there's something particularly keen about that, I want to expand the reach, then I can ask my friends to reshare it onto their timelines to reach all the people that they know that I do not.
Question back here.
Yes. Pat Byerly, go to Square Dance with Bo and friend our Facebook page. We're in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. So I thought I heard you say that if we wanted to target the baby boomers versus the millennials or Gen X, that our content should be different. Would you explain to us the different contents we need to put on our page to attract all of everybody?
Yes, that's a good question. So content is going to vary. And so this may be something that you can kind of play with, right? Look and see how are people responding. So that's kind of looking at those publishing tools, and that page insight is going to show me how the content responds. So the biggest thing that I would kind of talk about, and let me switch over here and go back. Let's see if I got that on this page. Is to look at what's getting a response. In our case, on the CALLERLAB Facebook page, we're looking at pictures, right? Pictures with either text or with people are gaining the best response. So a picture, in this case, is worth 1,000 words or maybe even more on Facebook, depending on how many people see it and how many people engage with that. So pictures are one of the things that you definitely want to look at for your content. If I just post a post with text in it, that's probably going to be our lowest performing post. If I just say, see you all at the convention, nobody's going to click on that, nobody's going to engage in that.
A
But
question
pictures.
to both of you then on a similar topic. What kind of response rate do you get for videos over just plain still pictures? Better, worse?
Good question. So in my personal experience, it depends on the length of the video and the content of the video. I find that people on Facebook tend to have a shorter attention span. If you're catering towards millennials especially, they probably won't watch anything that's longer than about 30 seconds. Okay, now depending on the content, all right, it's going to vary. And I don't know, Joe, I know you do a lot of video posting.
I think it depends a lot. I have lots of videos that I post, and I get 20 views or something, and then occasionally something comes along people are really fascinated with, and they share a lot. If I only post it on my own page, I get very few. If somebody likes it, and somebody not likes it in that sense, but somebody shares it on theirs, and other people start sharing, then it can get up into the hundreds and thousands. I agree that I think pictures are simpler. Pictures, they're quick to see, so I think pictures are definitely the way to go. They're more likely to get your existence out to a bunch of people with less effort. But I have fun making videos.
Something else I'll mention, so to increase your response rate. I could post content. So you saw some of those scheduled posts. We're looking at our formation pictograms that CALLERLAB on that document. And that's a document that's available publicly on the CALLERLAB website that anybody can look at. And so one of our features that we're doing as a monthly post is to grab one of those pictograms, post it as a blank on the Facebook page, and ask for a response. So instead of saying, here's a formation, it is XYZ, we say, here's a formation, tell us what it is, right? And so then that's going to increase our response rate. People respond. If you go back and look, you can see, there's 10, 12 comments of people who are responding to that post because we asked them a specific question that they could answer right on that post. So that's something to help increase our response rate. And one of the tactics that we're trying to see is this going to increase the number of people who are seeing our content, people who are responding to our content, and that's increasing our engagement rate. Yeah, good. And we have a note up here. 4 minutes left, so we'll take another question.
Okay, I'll try not to make it too long. Denise Carbonell again, Sanford, Maine. I am the creator and administrator for Square Dance USA on Facebook. I started it back in September of 12, just to show how far things can travel. So the date was January 15, 2013. I created this name and I posted it on that page. You guys can come up and look at it closer if you'd like. Okay, it was just something I created. Every now and then, it started maybe a year after I posted this, I started seeing t-shirts with something very similar to this on it. Matter of fact, I have a picture of some square dancers. I'm not even sure who they are. I was just scrolling through Facebook, and there they are with my name on their t-shirts. I showed up here, so it goes pretty far. So I show up here at convention, and the 70th National Square Dance Convention has my name on their t-shirts. So things can really travel far. So thank you very much. I just wanted to let you know that it is a really good tool for that.
That's great, and that just really emphasizes the fact that, you know, we're increasing the scope of our conversations. We're letting people outside of just our personal friends, people that we know, see our content. And so this is a great free marketing tool that you can use that doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of resources. You know, you can schedule that content, and that's just letting other people out there know about your activity, know about you as a caller, know about your club, your organization. So, good questions. Any other notes here?
It can take a lot of time. If you spend, it can take as much time as you give it.
Well, this has been our panel on Facebook, and I'd like to thank our presenters, Teresa Berger, Joe Dean. Remember to complete your convention critique sheets, and please give us some feedback. What you think about this presentation? Should it be repeated in future years? What more would you like to see? Let them know. Thank you very much.